Everyone loves a contest. But sport isn't just about victory and defeat. When the GOATs in sport speak, you hear it first on WION.
You have to play good cricket over a period of time.
I should push myself right out of the damn tournament.
We go beyond the stats. Our stories are quoted the world over.
At WION, sport is part of our DNA. Come, join us on this journey. Weekdays 6:30 p.m. IST, 1 p.m. GMT.
The biggest democratic exercise on the planet ever. Decoding the multiple colors of this multi-dimensional, multi-layered spectacle. WION deciphers the images and the hues. Sifts real performance from rhetoric and noise, claims and counterclaims, populist pitches and hidden truths. Untangling, unraveling this celebration of democracy.
Watching Race to Power with me, Ananya Datta. Here's what is coming up next. In less than 24 hours from now, we will know who will make the next government in India. With all exit polls predicting a return for the NDA government, what does it mean for the opposition is the question we are asking. Donald Trump says he's ready for jail term, but what he said after is bringing back memories of a dark chapter in US's history. Stay tuned to find out what. With just 12 hours to go till counting begins in this mammoth electoral battle, we take a look at some of the hot seats in focus and the big names contesting in these constituencies in India.
.543 constituencies, over 612 million voters, a raging heatwave, and 7 phases later, India is hours away from its election mandate. Exit polls have placed their bets and made their predictions. Here are some of the hot seats that will be in the spotlight for voters and parties alike. In Maharashtra, the state's political landscape has made headlines for months ahead of the election. On the Baramati seat, National Congress Party SP candidate and sitting member of Parliament Supriya Sule took up a direct fight with her sister-in-law Sunetra Pawar. In the Hindi heartland state of Madhya Pradesh, Congress leader and son of former Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Kamalnath Nakulnath contested from his family stronghold in Chhindwara Lok Sabha seat against BJP's Vivek Sahu. Amid celebrity faces is Bollywood actor turned politician Kangana Ranaut, who made her electoral debut in the current elections from the Mandi constituency in Himachal Pradesh. Ranaut is contesting against royal family scion Vikramaditya Singh. Down south, Thiruvananthapuram witnessed an intense battle between Union Minister and BJP candidate Rajiv Chandrasekhar and senior Congress leader and sitting MP Shashi Tharoor. In West Bengal's Baharampur seat, The political battle is between Trinamool Congress's Yusuf Pathan and Congress Party's Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, who has represented since 2009. Another hot seat on the cards is the Saran constituency in Bihar, where two-time MP and BJP candidate Rajiv Pratap Rudy is contesting against RJD's Rohini Acharya, who is the daughter of party chief Lalu Prasad Yadav. The constituency of Wayanad also witnessed a battle between Congress leader Rahul Gandhi and BJP's K. Surendran. Lastly, the Hyderabad seat saw a high-octane battle between sitting MP Asaduddin Owaisi and BJP's firebrand leader Madhavi Lata. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
To take that further, we are being joined by author and commentator Dr. Makarand R. Parandrape. He's joining us live. Dr. Parandrape, thank you so much for joining us here on WION. Good to see you again. Before I start off with you, there are some numbers I would quickly take you through. These are the opinion polls from months back, where it was quoted that the NDA will get about 358 to 368 seats. And if we compare that with the exit polls that we got over the weekend, one of the pollsters says NDA would get 361 to 401 seats. Now, that's awfully close, of course. If I talk about the India bloc, opinion polls suggested about 28 to 48 seats, one of them. And in the exit polls, we are getting it's somewhere between the 131 to 160 mark. Now, I want you to take us through, like, in a way, bridge this gap with the counting day, of course, tomorrow.
As you know, Ms. Datta, there's hardly any gap this time. And last time in 2019, both the opinion polls and the exit polls were a bit off. They gave NDA and BJP less than they actually got. So this is a very inexact science, if at all it's a science. And you know very well that exit polls are not allowed to be published till 30 minutes after the polling booths close. So I think that's the way it ought to be, because one of the things people don't realize is that Indian voters do not want to divulge their choices to all and sundry.
Absolutely. And taking your point a little further, we have been hearing from the BJP as well as the NDA bloc that 400 is the mark. They are eyeing the 400 mark. I want to ask you, according to all the exit polls we have, NDA is coming to power either ways. Maybe we don't have the figures as of now. We'll have that in the next 12 to 15 hours. But NDA is coming back to India. It seems so. Why do you think it is so important for the NDA bloc to reach this 400 mark? And do you think that will have any kind of impact on whether they get that or not?
Yes, earlier you remember the BJP had come up with the slogan "Is bar 400 par." So the BJP alone was aiming for 400 plus. But I think that was an election tactic. It was meant to demoralize the opposition, steal a march over them, as it were, because you've changed the goalpost from 276 to 400. Now they're saying the NDA will cross 400, right? So I think there are two crucial things here. If you want to amend the constitution, you need a 2/3 majority. Now that is not 400. 400 is more than that. But there's also a thing called what they call an absolute majority, and this goes way back to Greek and Roman democracies, that if you have a 3/4 majority, then basically you're going to argue that the will of the people is so firmly behind you that you can actually even change the constitution and do many other fundamental changes. And this has been dubbed by some commentators as the beginning of Republic 2.0, India, the second republic, okay? Now, I'm not sure that the BJP, NDA will go that far, but I feel pretty confident that when they're back in power, they're going to aim for certain major changes. And this will include the delimitation of the parliament seats so that you're going to have many more people in parliament for the next election in 2029. And another thing that I think might happen is the census, which is also a very crucial factor in any democracy.
All right, Dr. Parandrape, always good to see you and good to speak to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on now. 2024 elections have ushered in a paradigm shift in South African politics. The African National Congress, also known as the ANC, which has enjoyed a 30-year dominance in South African politics, has lost its long-held absolute parliamentary majority. ANC, which would have needed over 50% of all votes to form the government on its own, has seen its share slip to barely 40%. South Africa's Election Commission announced official results on Sunday evening, and with the focus now shifting to the coalition politics and alliance formation. South Africa's ruling African National Congress, the ANC, has won 159 out of the 400 seats. In the previous election, 2019, the party had won 230 seats. ANC's main challenger, the Democratic Alliance, came second with 87 seats. Ex-President Jacob Zuma's MK party won 58 seats, while the Economic Freedom Fighters came fourth with 39 seats. The ANC has said that it was open to talk to all political parties to form a coalition government following the election. Some political analysts say that President Cyril Ramaphosa may have to step down, but ANC leader said on Sunday that the party would not bend to pressure from other political forces.
Thank you very much to all of you. The final announcement of the 2024 national and provincial election results today in many ways represents a victory for our democracy as South Africans. It also represents a victory of our constitutional order, but more importantly, it represents a victory for all the people of South Africa. We have held another successful election that has been free, fair, credible, and peaceful.
For the ANC, a deal with any of the opposition parties, including the DA, MK or EFF, will likely mean significant policy concessions and senior government or parliamentary positions for their partner. The moot question will be whether Cyril Ramaphosa stays as president. An election for president in parliament is due within 2 weeks. The ANC was unlikely to pick the white-based Democratic Alliance as its sole coalition partner, even though its market-friendly stance would sit well with Ramaphosa. An alliance with the DA would be favoured by investors, of course. The EFF, led by Julius Malema, a former leader of the ANC's youth wing, may be a more natural fit for the ANC, but relations are tense between Malema and some ANC factions. The EFF said in April it would partner with the ANC if it got the powerful post of finance minister. The ANC has not disclosed its thinking on any non-majority scenario. A deal with the MK, which emerged as the third biggest party, would also be difficult given that former President Jacob Zuma, who is now the MK president, has ruled out an alliance with the ANC. The MK has repeatedly said it would not enter any coalition government if Ramaphosa stays on. Jacob Zuma has threatened to challenge the electoral results in court, and fears of violence have risen. Now, correspondent Carlin Ongmu has more on this.
Coalition talks are on. The next 48 hours is going to be very important for ANC to decide who is going to be the best partner to work with for the next 5 years. Some experts have said in order to save South Africa, ANC and DA are the best bet, even though their policies might clash. DA, on the other hand, has said they will speak to everyone, but has warned that the coalition between ANC, EFF and Zuma's Mkhonto we Sizwe party will be the destruction of South Africa, and termed the coalition as Doomsday Coalition. President Cyril Ramaphosa has called on all political parties to overcome the differences and find common ground to form the first national coalition government. This is Carlin Ongmu from Johannesburg, South Africa for WION World is One.
Let's focus to US politics now. For the first time, former US President Donald Trump has reacted to his conviction. His reply to a probable jail term has brought back memories of his speech before the infamous 2021 Capitol riots. Here's a report. Donald Trump became the first US president, former or sitting, to be convicted of a crime. He He received a guilty verdict for falsifying business records in order to win the 2016 elections. Each of the 34 felony charges carries up to a $5,000 fine and also a 4-year prison sentence. The possibility of him going behind bars is narrow. While he says he's ready for a jail term, what he said after has surprised many.
The judge could decide to say, hey, house arrest or even jail.
It could.
How do you face what that could look
I'm
like?
okay with it. That could happen. I don't know that the public would stand it, you know. I'm not sure the public would stand for it. With a
You're saying if they tried house arrest or...
I think it would be tough for the public to take. You know, at a certain point there's a breaking point.
Trump's reference to a breaking point was shockingly similar to his speech before the Capitol riots. After 2020's presidential elections were announced, then President Trump delivered a 70-minute speech near the White House, which many believe instigated his supporters to storm the Capitol.
It's all part of the comprehensive assault on our democracy, and the American people are finally standing up and saying, no, this crowd is, again, a testament to it.
The judge has set 11th of July as the date for sentencing. It will happen 4 days before the start of the Republican National Convention, where Trump is widely expected to be named the Red Camp's nominee. The political climate is expected to be volatile as Trump supporters seem to be vying for him even after conviction. Bureau Report, WION World is One. The big election story now. Claudia Sheinbaum is the first female president of Mexico. The winner of Mexico's presidential polls has cemented her position for a 6-year term in office. Take a look at this report.
Media outlets and the ruling party declared ruling party candidate Claudia Sheinbaum the winner of Mexico's presidential election after polls closed on Sunday. That puts her on course to be the country's first woman president. The head of the ruling Morena party, Mario Delgado, told supporters in Mexico City that Sheinbaum had won by a, quote, very large margin. One exit poll gave her a landslide 56% of the vote. Mexico's largest ever elections have also been its most violent in modern history, with the killing of some 38 candidates. On Sunday, 2 people were killed at a polling station in Puebla State. The deadly violence has stoked concerns about the threat posed to democracy by warring drug cartels. More people have been killed during the mandate of outgoing leader Andrés Manuel López Obrador than during any other administration in Mexico's modern history. Sheinbaum, who has convincingly led in opinion polls over her main competitor, Xochitl Gálvez, will be tasked with confronting organized crime violence and reviving a sluggish economy. And a victory for her would represent a major step for Mexico, a country known for its macho culture. The winner is set to begin a 6-year term on August 1st.
Moving on now, elections will be held for the European Parliament later this week between June 6th and 9th. Ahead of the crucial polls for the bloc, hundreds of farmers are back on the road. Now, Europe has been witnessing massive protests over simmering agrarian crisis ahead of the elections. Protesting farmers blocked a crucial highway at the border of France and Spain. Not only this, they also drove their tractors onto the A7 highway and blocked the border point.
It is important to hold the protest because in France, agriculture is hard. It's been neglected for around 20 years or even longer. So we have to be here to fight for our children. And we feed the people, you know.
Since we have European elections, let's see if our politicians take the sector seriously and listen to our demands.
The blockade is a follow-up on similar protests earlier this year against what farmers are calling unfair agricultural laws of the European Union, particularly the policies of the Green Deal and unfair competition. We now turn our focus to the power competition heating up in Iran after the sudden death of President Ibrahim Raisi. Raisi's death in a helicopter crash on May 19th has set off a power struggle among members of the country's clerical establishment. There is no clear frontrunner as of now to succeed him as supreme leader. Now, Iran's ex-president Mahmoud Ahmadinejad is set to run against in the upcoming June 28th election. However, the country's cleric-led Guardian Council can bar him as they screen candidates and release their names on June 11th. The council, which is largely comprised of conservative followers of Khamenei, has prohibited hundreds of regime insiders from seeking election. The other candidates in the fray are Mahmoud Sadeghi, a former lawmaker, and Ali Larijani, a long-standing parliament speaker. Now, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad was Iran's former president and former member of Iran's elite revolutionary guards. Ahmadinejad was elected president of Iran in 2005 and stepped down after the two-term limit in 2013. Now, during the former president's tenure, the main points of contention with the West were the Iranian nuclear program and his provocative comments as seen by the West about Israel. The Guardian Council prevented him from participating in the previous two elections in 2017 and 2021. And this came after Ahmadinejad publicly called for limits on Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's final authority. Tensions between the two leaders began to rise then. Long-standing parliament speaker and veteran politician Ali Larijani has thrown his hat in the rings as well. Larijani is considered a top contender due to his strong loyalty to and close relationship with Supreme Leader Khamenei. Larijani has been a prominent figure in Iranian politics and national security for many years. And he has also been an advisor to Khamenei on international affairs. Many believe that Larijani has become more moderate after initially siding with the Supreme Leader's policies. Another candidate in the race is Mahmoud Sadeghi. He is a self-styled reformist, and the former lawmaker has been vocal in the criticism of the government of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. And as a result, in 2020, the council barred the former Shia cleric from running for the legislative office and is likely to do so again. There are a lot of conservatives and hardliners running for office. However, the so-called reformists have not yet decided on a candidate to run, and Sadeghi is not likely to be their front runner. Now we turn our attention to the massive jump in Indian stocks. Benchmark indices hit new record highs on Monday after exit polls showed a resounding victory for the ruling alliance of NDA. The Sensex closed over 2,500 points at a new all-time high, and the Nifty recorded its biggest jump in 4 months. Most pollsters expect the Bharatiya Janata Party-led alliance to win 350 to 400 seats in the 543-seat lower house of parliament. This is far more than the 272 needed for a majority. The alliance won 352 in 2019 and votes will be counted tomorrow.
मोदी बड़ी माला से स्वागत हो रहा है आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी योगी जी बड़ी माला से
Vineet Samre, who oversees about $12 billion as head of equities at DSP Mutual Fund in Mumbai, said that there was some skepticism with volatility picking up as some people were getting jittery on the election outcome. Now it will settle, and this is a resounding vote for continuity. While the final results might differ from the exit polls, the strength of the projected victory is expected to benefit risk assets. Should the results on June 4th align with the exit polls, analysts expect stock benchmark to gain further from record highs on Monday. And with that, we are wrapping up this session of Race to Power. Thanks for watching.
WION Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WION Health Resort. Make your reservation at WION.com.